Hey, it's Dr. Kate Walker. Thank you for joining me today. I've got some pivot stuff on my mind, and pivot is a word from business, and it really is something super simple because it means to change or to turn around, right? So you're going in one direction and then you pivot, right? So those of you who've played basketball before, you know you were taught how to pivot so you wouldn't travel. One of my first jobs was basketball referee. So I learned how to call people for traveling, right? When you travel, that means you're not pivoting. Hey, Leanne, thanks for watching. So today I'm going to take us through a little bit of a combination, right? I want to talk about content and I want to talk about how you can grow your pivot. Now, this is different than an additional stream of income. I mean, it can be, of course, it can be your side hustle, it can be your additional stream, it can be all that good stuff that we counselors like to do. This is a little bit different though. A pivot is something that's going to grow the business that you currently have. So I'm assuming you guys are counselors. I'm assuming that you're trying to grow your private practice. And so what today is going to be about is growing that practice. And if you want to take the information and of course grow your side hustle, that's an awesome thing. And I hope it works in all different areas of business. That's where I stole it from. I mean, the idea of a pivot is not new, right? In fact, those of you who do business, you know that they just change the names of stuff every once in a while. Every few years, it's a new name. So I and my buddy, Andy, are going to take you through a pivot. Hey Maureen, thanks for watching. So first things first though, I would like to let's see, we got tons of people in our group this week. We have 9 new members, so welcome Ray Lester, Nate Catano, the master of Texas online counseling. If you are doing any kind of telehealth, you need to go join Nate's group, Texas Counselors Online, or Texas Online Counselors. Search it, use those terms in Facebook, join it. He knows what's going on. He's got his fingers on the pulse of telehealth in Texas for counselors. Hey Janae, thanks for joining. We've got Exhale Counseling. We've got JC Vernell, Ashley Abernathy, Melody Alford, and Jody Ochoa, and Marisol Acosta. Marisol, I know you. I did your podcast. Marisol has an amazing podcast called Through the Eyes of a Therapist. And she is based in El Paso, and she's doing some amazing things for helping folks understand what counseling is. And it's actually a great place to jump off for our pivot conversation today, all right? So last week I talked about content and how it grows. So there's this developmental model of marketing, right? We all start out thinking, okay, we've got this dream, we want to have this beautiful office, this is our ideal client. It may be or maybe not related to our counter transference or issues that we have dealt with in the past. And so I talked about, as a beginner, we usually sometimes maybe start our practice based on our own stuff, right? And so our branding kind of turns into a little bit, these are some of my favorite things. You remember that, right? The Sound of Music song, right? So our favorite things, your office is going to have your favorite colors. Your website may be really bio heavy. It's going to have just a lot about you. It's going to have a lot of information that appeals to you, right? So it's how a lot of us start. We start just kind of putting ourselves out there. It's almost like, I don't know, you think of a model and a portfolio, right? Hey Jessica, hey Linda, thanks for watching. So developmentally though, what we find out, and what I got a lot of information and validation from you guys, the reality is we got to see who comes in, right? Who starts walking into the doors. I shared my story as an MFT. Lo and behold, who comes through the door? Marriages. And marriages, why do they come to counseling? Well, a lot of them are struggling to survive infidelity. Hey, Rachel, thanks for watching. And so I had to get my butt trained so that I could help these folks struggling to survive infidelity. And lo and behold, it became a great way for me to have a niche that I didn't even anticipate. I did not leave grad school thinking, oh yeah, I can't wait to get out there and help couples suffering with infidelity. But that's who came through the door. And so developmentally, I had to get training. I had to start thinking about my ideal client as this person, this spouse who'd been betrayed, and this spouse or partner who had been the betrayer. All right, and there are lots of different words for that. And I found that out immediately. That is a marketing nightmare. There is no word out there great word, marketing word, for the betrayed and the betrayer. So right off the bat, developmentally, I recognized that as I was trying to do all this good blogging, all this good SEO, search engine optimization work, my biggest bugaboo barrier was this idea there's just no great word for these folks. So you may find that in your counseling too, right? I mean, as I was doing my research, right, the betrayer, the paramour, the other person. So it's a language game. And those of you who have hired coaches before, you know this drives coaches crazy because they can't really help us find that ideal client if there's no really good word for it. Hey, Angel, thanks for joining. So developmentally, we get to the place, we do the training, we do the ideal client exercise, we think about what do they need rather than what do we want to put out there. What do they value? What do they need that I have? And then we start creating content. And last time we talked about this content, and we talked about blogs. We talked about putting keyword rich blogs out there. And one of our badasses, Cindy Doyle, is featured on our Badass Business page because she got picked up by the Texas Tribune. I mean, how amazing is that, right? Because she has this work that she does with spouses of police officers, and she's got a podcast, and she has all of these wonderful things that she's pushing out content, and got picked up on a regional level, which of course we know Texas, what starts in Texas changes the world. That's not just a UT thing, that's a real thing, right? So if it gets picked up in Texas, there's a very good chance you could get picked up nationally. So pushing out that keyword content is where we're starting, right? So now let's circle around to your pivot. Your pivot, I like to think of sometimes, is your free stuff. This is the thing that you've thought about doing, but you haven't done it yet, and it is going to directly feed into your business. I'll give you the example of my own practice, achievebalance.org. So if I'm working on couples and I'm trying to help couples who are surviving infidelity, and I've got the person who betrayed and I've got the betrayer, how am I going to talk to each of them, right? So one of the ways I can pivot from just traditional marketing, traditional website stuff, is I can create promotional videos, really short little videos, like 1 and 2 minute videos that talk to the betrayer, and a video that talks to the betrayed. I can go through my blogs and I can actually talk through them like they're a dialogue. And I can explain what is forgiveness. What does it mean to forgive? What does it mean to apologize? What does it mean to make amends? Video after video after video. And these are short. I'm talking like Facebook Live short. Well, actually, that's not good because these are 30 minutes. I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So you can put out these videos, and then those who are coming to you and they're wanting to see how you work and what's going to make you different. The betrayed person wants to make sure that they're not going to get chastised and ganged up on, right? Your video is going to explain. And that's just one example of a pivot, right? Some other things you can do as a pivot. You may have this great idea for a self-published book, but you only have a few things. Well, go ahead and put out a chapter. Right? Go ahead and create a PDF. You can create a link on your website, and you can say, 5 easy steps for achieving balance today. Something that you know has worked with your clients in the past and is completely and totally free. Okay? So I'm pushing free today because a pivot is a change of thinking, right? And in some religions, we call that, what is it called? Repent or something like that, right? It means a turning around, a changing of your mind. And I know a lot of us are conditioned to not give away our stuff. Well, folks, you know what? That's really a scarcity mind, right? That means, oh my gosh, there's not enough to go around. I better not give away my stuff. Y'all, do you know what I sell? Let me tell you what I sell. I sell supervisor training courses. I sell the 40-hour training to become a supervisor. I mean, I have coaching. Sure, if you want to coach with me, I'll do that. That's fine. But I give away way more than if you go to my website, I'm giving away a ton of stuff because what I sell is my training. Okay, so I know that's what I sell, so I don't mind when I pivot. Okay, what can I give away free today? I mean, you guys give me suggestions. Put it in the thread below. I will try to give it away free on my Texas Supervisor Training page. I'm creating a free directory, right? Because I want supervisors to come. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel comfortable with each other and be in community because I'm selling a training. Right? So think about what you're selling. Think about what you're selling to your community, right? We already know you're a Bentley. We already know that you're selling something that's of value, right? You're going through and you've already done this first exercise. You're not a beginner. So those of you who out there are beginners, happy to work with you and put questions out in this group. This group is amazing and it's full of experienced counselors. But you need to go through the brand clarification. What are you putting out there, right? What are you putting out there that people are receiving? And is your ideal client receiving that? Now you have so much material to start pivoting and putting out free content. I bet if I said, okay, you have 30 minutes, come up with 10 things that you could give away free. And you can only base it on the first 4 sessions. You would have books to recommend, you would have blogs to recommend, you would have exercises to recommend, you'd have journaling exercises to recommend, you would have sleep routines to recommend, you might even have like eating routines to recommend. So you have all of these things that if you had one page on your website dedicated to free resources, that could be something that as you go market, you finish every elevator speech. Remember that. If you don't remember that, go back in our threads. Look for the 30-second or 1-minute elevator talk so that you can say, and by the way, you can go to my website right now and download resources, free resources. You will become a resource for your community. So, but that's not the only thing. When you're thinking about pivoting, it's just like they taught you back in high school, right? Remember when you took that journalism class or that writing class and you have to ask who, what, when, where, why, and how, right? So think about what you have. Who needs it, right? That's the ideal client, right? What would it mean to them if they had it? When can they get it? And you know my rule, it's one click or nothing, baby, right? I don't want them searching through your website. I want it one click away. If it's a speaking gig, if that's going to be your pivot, that you're going to start speaking to PTOs and library groups, everybody's looking for Zoom meetings and Zoom events, right? Then I want you one click away. How do I get information about booking Angel to come speak to my group, right? One click. When, where, right? Where are you going to market Texas? Is this just for Texans? Is this just for Houstonians? Those of you out in El Paso, those of you in the Hill Country area, who is this for? Where is it important to them? What are some regional issues that are going on right now? You notice I'm not talking about COVID today. I feel like we all kind of know that's an issue, right? But where do they need the resource that you have? Why do they need it? And how can you get it to them, right? So asking all those questions, your mind should be turning right now because like I said, this isn't necessarily an additional stream of income. I mean, it can be. Of course it can be. And on Wednesdays, I post my little lemonade stand for you guys in the Badass Business Group so you can all post your side hustles, and that's awesome. And I hope you're pulling in some extra cash. But those side hustles don't necessarily bring in the same client that you need for your practice. Remember, time is money. Your time costs money. So if you're spending time on a side hustle and you're not bringing in your rate per hour, it's not helping you. And if it's not duplicating your client base, it's not helping you. In fact, it's expending your energy. Okay, so you thinking about, okay, my ideal client needs a free resource. They don't necessarily need, let's say I learned how to, make something in my wood shop. Great little side business. I can build you a cabinet. By the way, I cannot build you a cabinet. I'm not allowed to use power tools. So that's an awesome side gig, but it's not going to duplicate your client base, right? It's going to take energy away from you. So it may be fun, it may be a nice hobby, it gets you out of the office, it gets your mind free. But to start developing that as a business is actually going to take away from this. Those of you who have ever gone to a web designer, a good web designer is going to ask you, okay, what region are you in? And that web designer is going to look at their client list, and they are going to see if they have anybody in the same business as you. Because a good web designer knows they can't duplicate the energy for more than one person in the same business. This is you, right? So if you're going to have a side hustle, please, please try to make it a pivot on your current business, okay? And it's easy to see if something's going to be a pivot or not, right? Are people buying it, right? Give it 6 months. If nobody's buying it, all right, then it's going to be part of your free giveaway. There's a fabulous book out there called The Pumpkin Plan or Pumpkin Planning, something like that. And it talks about this idea of these giant pumpkin growers. Yes, that's a thing. And they have conventions, or they used to before COVID. And they only focus on growing giant pumpkins. I'm talking about the kind that fit in the back of a tractor at harvest time, and they go to county fairs and they win ribbons. This is a particular kind of grower. Well, they take the small pumpkins and they toss them. I don't know if they feed them to their pigs or whatever. Well, for us, those tiny pumpkins, if we look at something and we see that something's not selling, it's not that we stop marketing it, but what you can do is you can move it to your free resources page. Okay, you can start giving out information about it on your free resources page. It wasn't making you any money anyway. Move it to your free resources, help people find you, because remember, your goal is to provide resources for your community. Then, as that happens, right, it's almost like, think of a little trail of breadcrumbs, or I guess little pumpkins, right? They're gonna follow the trail of little pumpkins, and they're gonna find your big pumpkin. Right, whatever it is that you're selling, the thing that you love and that people love, they'll find you, okay? Now, let's talk about Googling the competition. It's not really Googling the competition. It's actually, let's see how everybody else is doing it. Now, this can also go into our talk about marketing, because any good coach will tell you, well, what's the competition doing? No, I don't want you to do that for the same reason anyway. I want you to look and see how people are selling, because I want you to notice, we're really good at this, counselors, I want you to notice how you feel. I want you to notice, do you feel drawn in, or do you feel repelled? Do you feel spoken to, or do you feel ignored, right? And as you start going to websites, and I'm not just talking about counselors, I'm talking about go to the Lowe's website, go to Pinterest or Houzz, H-O-U-Z-Z. Hey, Amanda, thanks for watching. Hey, Julietta, good to see you. Go to those websites and see if you feel drawn in. If you do, they're doing a good job. So find the website that makes you feel drawn in, and then start looking around at all of the free stuff that they offer. I saw one website, in their navigation bar, they had newsletter. Now, usually newsletter's just that annoying little pop-up and we all click it so we can get to the good stuff. This particular website was like newsletter, click, sign. So you saw that immediately, and then it was linked to more free stuff. If you don't have a newsletter, or, I mean, that's okay, right? Because when you start collecting emails, it means you have to maintain it, right? You just can't ignore your email crew. But recognize that is an amazing opportunity to give away free stuff, give away free things month by month. I see oh, hey Ray, thanks for joining. Amanda just waved at the screen, awesome. I had an email list for my private practice, and so here's the thing, just a side note with ethics. You know, I always like to give you a bit of ethics with every single Facebook Live that I do. I recommend that if you're going to send out mass emails to your clients, you use an email service, okay? Remember, this is protected health information, right? PHI, this has to be HIPAA compliant. So if you're collecting emails, yes, these are potential clients, so no paperwork has been signed, right? Couple of things though, you can't ever let anyone else see that email, right? And for those of you who are beginners in this field, you know, it may seem easy, just collect the emails, then get your Outlook, put everybody in, and send out an email. Number one, the spam bots are gonna get you. Google's and all of the filters, they're never gonna let you through. So you have to be sure that if you're collecting newsletters, And again, I love newsletters because you can say, hey, join my newsletter. I will send you this free thing. You just have to make sure that your email collector and provider is a HIPAA compliant provider. We could talk about that more. It has to do with business associate agreement. And again, I know that these folks aren't necessarily clients, but some of them may be. And the same thing with your Facebook page, right? It gets into a little bit of a sticky thing here. So just be careful. I think today or yesterday, someone actually asked for a social media policy, and someone posted that. So that's awesome. So I'm going down a rabbit hole. Let me bring you back. Okay, so the idea is to pivot, right? How to think differently about your business. So I'm getting low on time. Number one, to think differently, think give it away, right? You're like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? Give it away now, right? We're going to give stuff away. We're going to use it in our marketing so that when we go give our elevator speech, when we go talk to that Chamber of Commerce, we're going to remind them that they can go to our website and they can download free stuff. And then you're going to tell them, hey, go tell 10 friends that they can go find this stuff on your website. We're going to remember and ask ourselves the who, what, when, where, why, and how questions. So as we develop this stuff, whether it's little videos, whether it's blogs or a combination, right? Reading your blogs, right? Making a video of you reading the blog to your ideal client. Imagine, you could do a little empty chair thing, right? There's your client in the chair, and you're going to conduct a video of you talking to that imaginary client. You're going to encourage them. You're going to let them know how counseling helps. You're going to let them know the things that they're asking you on the phone, right? You're going to answer those questions. I don't know. I'm just winging it now, right? I'm just coming up with ideas. You guys, I'm sure, have great ideas. Post them below. So again, a pivot is not necessarily a side hustle. Blogs, podcasts, instructional videos, speaking, virtual free workshops. I've seen a ton of those. In addition to the stuff that we always talk about with the additional streams of income, the courses, etc. All right. So remember, COVID is not it's a plan killer, not a dream crusher. All right. You have to go back. You have to remember your vision. What are you really wanting to get out of your business? The pivot needs to line up with that. If the pivot sucks any energy, money, or time away from your dream, you're not doing it right. All right. And it's okay. We've all done it. Remember, marketing and business development is developmental. We always start at the beginning making mistakes based on what we want and what we think is right. It's hard to make that shift to what our clients need from us, okay? So we talked about the values clarification exercise last week with our branding. This week we're pivoting. We're starting to think about different ways to give things away, provide resources in ways that our clients need, and we'll draw them in. Oh my gosh, how about an instructional video about how to use telehealth, right? What are some pitfalls? What are some things you might be feeling on the other side of that camera? I'm telling you, I got a million of them here, guys. Hey, Rita, thanks for joining. So that's it. Remember, you are too important to lose to things like giving up, going broke, getting in trouble, or burning out, right? Counselors don't quit. We keep thinking, we keep moving, we keep pivoting. So you guys have a great day.